The room fell silent the moment the old lawyer placed the brown envelope on the table. Everyone thought they already knew how the will would go, and that's why they laughed when Emily, the quiet girl in the faded blue sweater, walked in and took the last empty chair. They didn't even try to hide it. Her cousins smirked. Her aunt whispered loudly, "Why is she here? She barely even visited." And Emily just sat there, hands shaking, heart heavy, wishing she hadn't come at all. But she had made a promise, one she never told anyone. The lawyer cleared his throat, adjusting his glasses. "We will begin now. The will of Mr. Harrison, Emily's grandfather, the only person who ever made her feel seen in a family that treated her like background noise." She remembered sitting with him on cold Canadian evenings, helping him drink tea when his hands trembled, listening to stories he said he'd forgotten for years. She did it because she cared, not for money, not for inheritance, just for him. Her relatives didn't care about any of that. They were here for one reason, to divide a fortune. The lawyer read out the first part of the will, leaving properties, cars, and investments to the family members who sat proudly, lifting their chins as if the world owed them applause. Emily watched quietly, unnoticed, until the lawyer reached the final page. He stopped, and for a moment, he simply looked at Emily. Then he stood up. The room tensed. Even the aunt who had been whispering suddenly leaned forward as if the air had changed. "Before I read this last section," the lawyer said, "I must honor Mr. Harrison's final request. He asked me to speak, not as a lawyer, but as a witness." Emily felt her chest tighten. She had no idea what this meant. The lawyer continued, "Mr. Harrison told me something about each of you. He said you visited only when you needed money, only when you were losing something, or when you wanted to take something more. But there was one person who came when he had nothing to give." Every eye in the room turned to Emily with disbelief. Her cousin scoffed, "Oh please, she probably visited once or twice." The lawyer didn't flinch. "No, she visited every week, sometimes twice. She fixed his clock when it broke. She sat with him during storms because he was afraid of thunder. She read to him when his eyesight weakened. She brought him soup every winter because she knew he wouldn't cook for himself." Emily stared down, tears burning her eyes. She had never expected anyone to notice. "He told me," the lawyer said, voice steady, "that when the world felt cold, she was the warmth that reminded him he wasn't alone." The room was so quiet now that Emily could hear her own heartbeat. "And because of this," the lawyer continued, lifting the last page, "Mr. Harrison made a decision that might surprise you." He unfolded the paper slowly, a deliberate pause that held every person in the room captive. To Emily, he read, "I leave my home, my lake cabin, and my savings account. I leave her the things I cherished the most, because she cherished me without ever asking for anything in return." A sound escaped her aunt's mouth, half gasp, half outrage. The cousins exchanged furious looks. Emily froze, completely overwhelmed. She had expected nothing, absolutely nothing, and yet here she was, suddenly holding the heart of her grandfather's legacy. The lawyer wasn't done. "He left a letter for you," he said softly, handing her a small envelope. With trembling fingers, Emily opened it. Inside was a message written in her grandfather's shaky handwriting. "Emily, my dear girl. The world laughed at you because they never understood you. But kindness leaves footprints deeper than wealth. You gave me time. You gave me love. And now I give you what I can. Build the life you deserve. And never let anyone silence your worth." Tears streamed down Emily's face, silent, unstoppable. Her aunt finally spoke, anger trembling in her voice. "This is unfair. She doesn't deserve all that." The lawyer looked at her, firm and unshaken. "Mr. Harrison was very clear. This is his final decision. And it is legally binding." Emily stood slowly, holding the letter close, feeling a strength she hadn't felt in years. For once, the room wasn't laughing. For once, they were speechless. She walked out into the cold Canadian air, the winter wind brushing her cheeks, but she didn't feel cold at all. She felt seen, valued, loved. Her grandfather had given her more than property or money. He had given her the push she needed to finally believe in herself. And as she stepped outside, she whispered, "Thank you, for everything." The sky above seemed brighter, as if even it was acknowledging the truth. Kindness is never wasted, and sometimes, it becomes the very thing that changes a life forever.